Hi, this is Chris. It's time for page 9 in repainting my first watercolor travel journal from 40 years ago. So if you'd like to see the previous paintings, I have a playlist at the end of this video. So today we'll be doing this Central California from the Amtrak. As I said in earlier videos on this project, in this series, I was on a vacation with my parents through California and the High Sierra, and when my time was up I had to get back home and go to work, and so they stayed in Central California, and then I took the Amtrak down to Southern California, and that was fun. So here are the mountains and a farm and a lot of crows, or looks like they're eating all the seed, and some telephone poles in a little house. And I don't remember this scene. This was too long ago, so I'm just going to do something similar. And that will be on this page. So I'm going to prop this up so I can see it, and then I'll put a smaller version up so you can see it. I might use a softer pencil this time so that hopefully you can see the outlines. I know it's hard for you to see what I've drawn, and I usually try to draw light because I don't really want them to show through, but I think I can use a darker pencil this time. So I'm using my finger to guide my pencil, and I'm just making a line. I'm not trying to be real straight or anything. This isn't going to work because I'll end up with a wavy line. And this will be mostly sky, so it'll be good to practice doing gradient wash. So this is just a Bic 0.7 millimeter HB number 2. It's a very soft lead. It's a fairly soft lead. It can smear if you're drawing. It can smear, but it's good for sketching because you can do a lot of shading and things like that with it. And then I like the Magic Rub white eraser. It's very gentle on the paper and does a good job of erasing. So we'll start with our wash first. I'll clean up my palette, and then I'll get my colors mixed. This is the palette I use most of the time. I paint fairly small nowadays. I used to paint larger paintings, and I had a large square palette, but I don't have a whole lot of room for that, and these are really the colors that I usually use. I don't use a whole lot of colors anymore. I enjoy mixing my colors rather than taking something straight out of the tube. I'm going to prop this up a little bit so that to help my wash flow. So I need to find something to prop that up with. I think I'll just use this. This isn't a palette I've used for a long time, as you can tell, and I take this when I go on a car trip. So that will give me just a little bit of an angle, and that'll help me. I'm going to use a large brush. I'm going to use this Robert Simmons White Sable flat. It's a 3/4 inch flat brush. It has a little bit of a static problem at the moment, but that'll calm down when I wet it. Next I'll use Robert Simmons White Sable number 12 round. And already some of my brush marks show what looks sort of like ridges in the mountain, so I'm just going to follow those. The paint is lifting a little bit as I paint on this particular kind of paper, so I'll use that to my advantage. There's a bit of early morning fog in the background, so I'm just going to get rid of some of the watermarks that make that look a little too hard. I want it softer, like the early morning fog rising off the agricultural fields in the Central Valley. So now I'm going to put in some of these distant buildings. For the electrical lines, I'm going to, probably won't go as high as I have my pencil lines, but I think I'm just going to then we'll put in the distant foliage, and I'm going to cut down the value on that so it's not quite so green. It's in the distance. So you cut down on value and detail when you're in the distance. I think I'll add a road here by these telephone poles. There's usually a road and you have to get to the town, right? Switch to a smaller brush. So this is a Robert Simmons round 8. Put some bushes and stuff around this little cabin or outbuilding, whatever it is. In here I'm letting the paint do a little bit of suck back by adding some more water to it, and that gives a kind of a bushy look to these, whatever they are, these plants. I think there needs to be a piece of old farm equipment out here. So I went on my phone and I found this, it's a kind of a rake, or bush hog it. So it won't be any detail involved in this. I'll just sketch it out. To paint behind it first, because I won't be able to paint around all those pieces. I'll just put a light wash so it'll show up when I'm done. I'm going to do the furrow field, and so I'm just going to do like I did before and put in some dirt and some furrows. now all I have left to do is to put in the crows. I guess they're crows who are stealing the seeds from the farmer's field. I don't use black in watercolor. I used to belong to the Transparent Watercolor Society, and you can't use black or white because they're opaque pigments. And if you entered one of their shows, which I did at one time, they look at your painting very closely to make sure that the white they see in your painting is the white of the paper. So I just never use blacks. I mix all my darks. And they're much richer. Black will deaden it. So I'll start down here. And I'll just do some little strokes. So there is our recreation of the painting that I did 40 years ago. I don't really remember this scene, but I do remember the trip because I was on the Amtrak and it had engine trouble and we had to stop for, I think it was 2 or 3 hours, and I ended up being late at the station where my cousin was going to pick me up. And I was supposed to get there at 9 and I wasn't there till 11 or midnight or something. I felt bad for them that they had to wait, or I think they went home and then came back. I'll put some close-ups in of the different areas of the painting where it's hard to see the detail from here. Thanks for watching and have a great day painting. Bye-bye.